What's going on, traders? Welcome to Investing Trends, where we talk about the latest news and trades on trending stocks. Welcome back to the Ark Invest series, where we track the trading activity of the popular ETF, Ark Invest. To those new to the series, please check out my past videos to understand why following Ark Invest is helpful and the composition of this report. That being said, let's dive in and check out the trades Cathie Wood made this week. There has been strong and a lot of buying of Teledoc Health going on here, with over 600,000 shares purchased this week. No doubt the aggressive buys happen every day of the week, so consistency and large purchases makes the stock a strong buy for me. There has been some fear of the stock since Amazon announced that they are entering the telehealth industry, which is the core business for Teledoc. For one, Amazon actually already does a little bit of telehealth as they've built some internal apps, plus Teledoc is ways ahead of Amazon in a large market that can be shared with Amazon. Overall, I'm not too worried, and Cathie doesn't seem to be worried as well. On the other hand, she's been selling a lot of shares of Pacific Biosciences. With over 1.3 million shares being sold this week alone, the stock is down 1.5% for the week. What is more concerning is that Ark has been selling shares every day consistently. It'd be better if I saw them selling shares on some days and then buying shares on other days, but these consistent selling just makes me a little nervous. The next two stocks have been trending really well on my recent videos. Baidu and Tencent are the two Chinese stocks in my radar. Given that Ark owns 3.3 million shares, of which 770,000 shares were bought this week alone, indicates large buys. There is large investor optimism in the market over Baidu's plans to enter the hype for electric vehicles in China. Plus, a lot of Wall Street analysts upgraded the stock, boosting the optimism of Baidu even more. And if you thought they bought a lot of shares of Baidu, Cathie Wood bet even more on Tencent. The stock performed really well, being up 8% for the week, yet Ark kept buying shares every day of the week. The trend is bullish and strong. Going down the list, lots of activity is seen for Zoom, with close to 500,000 shares being bought. That is over $100 million of Zoom bought just this week alone. As most of you know, Zoom stock went up crazy amount during the pandemic and gave investors large gains. The stock took a dip recently with the 3 months performance being down, and Ark is buying the dip. Those who have been following this series for a while now should know that Zoom was not highlighted before, as Ark was not too active on ZM. I think it is time to focus on the stock, and it nears attractive price levels to start a position in Zoom for investors who missed out before and been waiting for a pullback. Let me scroll to the right so you can check out the daily trades yourself. The trend of shares either being bought or sold consecutively is really important for me, and it helps me pick out future winners and losers. And as you can see, there are some more selling on other stocks as indicated in red, such as LendingTree, 2U, and PagerDuty, but I don't think it's worth highlighting them since these trades are not significant. But again, if you hold these stocks, you should take the time to see how Ark has been trading them and focus on them. Cathie has been buying Regeneron left and right, with shares being bought every day of the week, over 50% of their total holdings. The stock was trading below $500 per share ahead of the biggest healthcare investors conference of the year and been on the rise following the recent presentation. Wall Street analysts have upgraded the stock and raised the price target to $590 per share. Novartis is also another healthcare stock that Cathie has been accumulating recently. After a lot of buying, as I stated on the last video, 1.5 million more shares were bought this week, which translates to more than 60% of the holdings. As the company is well established with a market cap of $230 billion, their stock price performance has been relatively good and steady. Ark Invest also bought a bunch of shares of 10x Genomics and Vertex Pharma this week, with over 400,000 shares being bought this week. Lots of activity in the healthcare space, especially after the big healthcare conference that happened. Let me scroll to the right so you can check out the trades. Lots of other interesting stocks here for you to check out. Nintendo has been steady this week as it is still just up 20% from the day I purchased. And I hope that this stock breaks out of the $80 per share soon. $80 has been a very tough resistance level for Nintendo, but once it breaks away, it should go back on the rocket ship mode. Moving along, Takeda Pharma has been picked up by Ark Invest. Again, the buying trend is back on, and investors should not worry about this stock if they are holding it. And although there's selling of nanostring technologies, I'm not too worried on this one as the trend is not strong enough. There has been time this week when Ark Invest bought shares and based on the total amount of shares being sold, simply makes it enough to keep it in the watch list. We will see what Cathie does on this stock next week. Red alert on Compugen. Although the number of shares sold is not significant, the selling trend is strong enough to worry me. Why is Cathie Wood selling shares of a stock that is down in 3 months and not buying the dip? Here are the daily trades for you to take a closer look at Cathie Wood's trading activity. Hope looking at the trades and trends makes you a confident investor. Following up on my last video, Ark has been buying SRPT this week as well. After that large crash in stock price, Ark did not give up on this stock and has been buying up shares every day of this week. If you were an investor in this stock and lost half of your value, then you should look to double down if you believe in Cathie Wood. Bristol Myers, ticker symbol BMY, is a brand new position for Ark Invest. They started buying shares of this stock on Monday and buying shares every day. The stock is up 5% for the week. The company is large with $150 billion in market cap. I'm sure most of you know this company or have at least heard of it as it engages in developing, licensing, manufacturing, and distributing biopharma products. Novartis and Bristol Myers are both solid and large healthcare-related companies. It makes me wonder whether Cathie is getting ready for a stock market crash, as she is buying more established and larger healthcare companies. Besides that, I hope you also notice that stocks in this section is showing high and strong buying trends, something to think about. Here are the daily trades for SRPT along with any other stocks in this section that you may be interested in. Feel free to pause the video and do your homework on these stocks that you already own or think of new stock ideas to start a position. Remember how Ark has been aggressively buying up shares of Aqua in the past and we talked about it frequently? I personally didn't see myself eating bioengineered salmon. The stock blew up and went up 17% this week. At one point, it went up as high as 30%. Money in the bank, and congrats to those who own the stock. Again, this section is a good place to get inspirational new stock ideas to enter. As you can see, no selling going on here and strong buying trends from Ark Invest. Check them out as I scroll to the right to show you the daily trades. Moving along, Workhorse is showing signs of life with more buying of shares this week. Workhorse was a trending stock back in early 2020, and since the rise, the stock fell miserably as the USPS contract announcement kept getting delayed. Going down, I want to take the time to talk about Space, SPCE, since there's a new announcement from Cathie Wood that is huge. Ark Invest has filed for a new ETF dedicated for space and space exploration with ticker symbol ARKX, which is expected to start trading in a little over 2 months from now. A lot of speculation that the ETF is going to hold SPCE and the stock will skyrocket. Well, I very much hope so since I own shares of this stock and very much a happy camper. Plus, once the ETF begins trading, I will of course add it to this consolidated spreadsheet and track it for you, so don't worry. Going down the list, Palantir was a big winner on Thursday to only be a disappointment on Friday. Cathie suddenly bought a bunch of shares, much more than usual on Thursday with 500,000 shares. The stock was up close to 10% after hours and PLTR investors were celebrating. Yet on Friday, the stock performed just okay with only 2.8% increase. Maybe it's just my high expectations, but I wanted more gains than just 3%. And here are the daily trades. Check them out yourself, see when they're buying shares and when they're selling, and whether the trend is true. I am concerned on Fluid Systems. It is concerning with over 40% of shares being sold this week relative to its holding. But I want to emphasize that it is just concerning, not too alarming, since Ark Invest flipped around and has been buying shares again on a smaller scale. Although it is smaller share lots when buying, a buy is a buy, which likely means that they are actively trading Fluid Systems. Those who are new to the series, we've been talking about MGA stock as it is a relatively new stock holding for Ark Invest, and I've been eyeing the stock closely. Cathie Wood has been aggressively buying this stock in the past and continued to buy up shares this week. Very similar buying patterns as Aqua Bounty, which went up over 15% this week. I suspect that MGA has a strong potential in the future, so let's keep it close to our chest. And here are the daily trades. As I scroll to the right, check out the stocks that you are interested in tracking and see what Cathie Wood did this week. I hope going through these trades gives you some comfort or confidence in the shares you own. Plus, I hope it gives you new ideas for stock purchases and investments that you want to enter. And here's the last section where there's strong buying of Rockwell Automation with close to 50% of shares being bought this week relative to their overall holdings of the stock. I believe this is a Biden administration play as the company engages in industrial automation and information services. Rockwell Automation plays in the automation part, the robotic arms that are heavily used in the warehouses. As Biden is pro clean energy, electric vehicles, and funding for infrastructure, companies like Rockwell Automation are well positioned to do well for the next 4 years. And lastly, Organovo, ticker symbol ONVO, is looking bad here with over 150,000 shares being sold. Shares are sold every single day, and the selling trend is high. Investors who own this company, who hold shares of this stock, please watch closely and be careful. And here are the daily trades for you to take a look. Hope looking through the daily trades gives you some more confidence in the stocks you're holding or gives you new stock ideas to buy. And let this be a guide to your investing needs and long-term investing to reach financial freedom. I urge you to invest safely, subscribe to the channel, and hit that like button. I thank you, appreciate you, and see you next time.